Welcome back to the Michael D. Show in the Beyond Publishing Studios. The thing I love about hosting this show is getting to sit across from amazing people around the world. She flew all the way from New Zealand. The title of her book, her best-selling book, is Farewell. Welcome to the studio. How are you, Sarah?
I'm fantastic. I'm very excited to be here.
Well, we're very excited to have you. You lost both of your parents within a short amount of time. How old were you when that happened, and then what kind of grief cycle did that put you into?
Yeah, so I was 20 years old when I lost my dad. He fell off a balcony, and it was at what we call a batch in New Zealand, which was like a holiday home, and it had no road access. And then 6 years later, I was on my overseas experience, and I got a phone call from my brother, and he said, Sarah, I think you've got to come home, back to New Zealand. And Colombia and New Zealand are quite far away. And my mum had had a brain aneurysm, and 12 days after fighting for her life in ICU, she also died.
Mm-hmm. So that's tragic for anybody, but being that age, it's doubly tragic. When did you decide to turn this in? At what point in your grief process did you decide you had something bigger to give the world?
After my dad died, I really had that fire in my belly, and I wasn't sure what to do with it. So like a 21, 22-year-old, I just did what a lot of people do in New Zealand. And it wasn't till after my mum died that I really had that fire, and it started pretty early on. The darkness after mum died was really there. And then I thought to myself, I can take one of two paths here, Sarah. I can either be the victim of both my parents dying at a young age, or I can make something of myself, and I can help other people who are going through grief and loss.
Well, you know, it's very powerful. You and your mate flew in from New Zealand yesterday, and you went to, the first thing you did was go to the Texas State Fair.
Yes.
We were all kind of amazed. I figured you would have been jet lagged and want to catch a nap, but you really dove into the culture. What's been the funnest part of this journey for you, and then what's been the hardest part of the journey?
Well, the funnest part of the journey in terms of the grief, or what I've been doing in New Zealand, has been launching my business, which is called Spring. And as we talked about, it's been a real uncomfortable ride. And I love stepping into that discomfort, because to me it's really a sign of growth. And that really is about a little bit about what the book is about too, is really growth and how we can grow from that discomfort.
Well, talk to me a little bit about you decided to write a fiction book called Farewell. And this is just such a beautifully done book, and it's near and dear to your heart. Kind of tell me this process. I know we're going to introduce Tom in a minute, but talk to me about this journey and what's on the inside of Farewell.
Yeah, so Farewell is a beautiful metaphor. And for me, one of the parts of my healing journey was realizing that everything lives and everything dies. And part of what I realized in the darkness was that as I looked around, I would look at the flowers and I would look at the birds, and I started to learn to live in the present. And what I noticed was that, you know, everything is going to live and die, and that brought me such comfort in those times of darkness.
It's very powerful. Do you want to introduce who's sitting on the couch next to you?
This
here?
is Tom.
He's kind of scary. Grab your mic, Tom. And,
Tom has really been such a pivotal part of the journey, and it's been such a pleasure to write with him and get to know him, and he's really helped me bring my vision to life.
So how we met, you might be saying, how did we meet? You're all the way in New Zealand. We're in the States. A mutual friend, Elizabeth, who is one of your coaches, mentors, and friends, connected us. And so, and then the journey between you guys began with kind of figuring out what direction do we go with this book.
This is the first project I've ever worked on where I worked with somebody who lived on Mars. Because your time zones are so screwed up that I can't tell you, because it's not only a time zone, but half the time we were talking on different days. And so it was impossible to get these things right. But then also speaking to different cultures, because I had a real passion about, well, first of all, she's just incredible.
Yeah,
and,
she is.
But I have such a passion for what she wanted to work on, because in the United States, in 1900, the median age of death was 50. 50. In 2022, half of the country is over 55.
Yeah, wow.
Now, what that means is that death as a part of the human experience is alive in over half of the people that live in this country. And we don't talk about it. We don't. We act as if it's a lottery ticket that you lost. You know, it's like, like we're surprised that people die. And then when people get older, we want to keep them alive forever. You know, I hear your grandmother's 98. I'm praying for her.
Yeah.
Why? So what we did is that we wanted to introduce the idea of death as a natural part of a journey, so that people, and I think in our dream world, is that someone at my age, might actually start their farewell, rather than act as just if it like jumps around a corner. And so you look at life differently, you appreciate things differently, you interact with things differently, and the story of a little girl who grows up in a garden to her old age, and then is told she's leaving the garden. Oh, it breaks your heart. But then the book is redeemed because you see a new child come to the front of the garden to till it again at the end. And so it really is a sacred book, wouldn't you think?
100%. And the interesting thing about the book is the more I read it and the more I've been learning and growing and changing, the more I'm becoming the main character, Tom.
Yeah. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Talk to me a little bit about that, because that right there, I think hit everybody really powerful. You're becoming the main character.
Well, I'm excited for everybody to read the book, but one of the things that I've really started developing is a love of gardening and a love of growing flowers and vegetables. And for me, it's that growing of that seedling and letting the seed into a seedling and then the seedling into a plant and then seeing it come to life.
Wow.
And for me, there's such beauty, and it's really been part of my healing journey.
Not only have you been in different time zone on a different day, but when you flew here, you're in a different season. You have to pack differently.
Well, actually, she arrived yesterday.
Yes.
I actually time traveled.
She arrived tomorrow, Tom. Get with it. And so part of your healing journey now, talk to me a little bit about the program that you have, because I think this is so powerful. When we did your marketing manifesto, we said, who's really going to buy the book? And we said funeral directors, we said pastors, we said elder care and hospice. Retirement centers. Yes, absolutely. Tell us a little bit. You've got a coaching program in the book and the other thing is, spring is your big thing. And for people that follow you online, it's like coming out of a cold winter dormant, and particularly after a lockdown, right? You just sparked this hope. And when you showed up yesterday and the room lit up, and you bring that with you now, is it different than it was 6 years ago?
It's definitely different since my mum's passed, and I've done a lot of growing and changing, and that's really what I want to show people, and that's why I've created the course. And the course is called Growing Through Grief, and it's a 6-week self-paced course, and you can do it in the comfort of your own home. And the reason that I created it was I didn't have those resources after my mum died. I'd go and I'd see a few people and I'd leave, but I needed something that I could access at any time. And it was really what I would have wanted after my mum died. So that was really the passion for why I've created that course.
Well, I know you poured a lot into it, and you even people don't realize, they think New Zealand is like a 30-minute bike ride to Australia. That's a pretty good plane ride, right?
Yeah, it's a 3-hour plane ride over water. And no, it's not the same country.
That's right. But you do have the Great Barrier Reef and some beautiful things. So we're planning on visiting there. And
but you do realize we're talking about New Zealand, Illinois.
And the Great Barrier Reef's in Australia.
Yes, you're going to help me understand all of that. Yeah. But you like the highways here.
We love the highways, and we love that everything's bigger in Texas.
Everything is, and your book is even bigger than Texas. Yes, so people can plug in. But the book program, the program that people can buy from your website, it's for any age group.
Yep.
Children up to.
Yep. So I would recommend it from that 12, 13,
okay,
and then right through to anyone who's experiencing grief or loss. And it really has everything that I have learned on my journey, all my tips, tools, quotes, everything is in that course. And I have put a lot of time and effort, and I'm really proud of what I've created.
So for people that want to have you speak or come on their podcast or access the course, what's the website?
www.springwithsarah.co.nz is the website. And the link is there to go through and find the course, which is called Growing Through Grief.
There's the link right there. Say it again a little slower.
Slower. www.springwithsarah.co.nz, and under courses, you'll find the course Growing Through Grief.
Sarah, so great to have you here. We definitely want to have you back. This has been awesome.
Thank you very much, and I'm excited to be here, and it's been such a pleasure to work with you at Beyond Publishing.
Was it fun?
It was awesome.
I know Tom was a little rough on you at times, but was he overall
It was because of the time zone, wasn't it, Tom?
Yeah. Would you recommend somebody that wants to work with us?
100%. It's been such a great experience, and for somebody who lives in New Zealand, being able to come to America and to be able to sit here on stage is just something I've dreamt of.
Yeah, well, we've got a lot to celebrate.
And I'm going to cry like you, Tom.
You've got a lot of new things. You got a lot of new things to celebrate ahead of you.
Thank you.
And we're grateful that you let us be a part of your journey. And the fact that you bought a ticket to come here means we're going to be a part of that journey now. Yeah. Not just next month and next year, but forever. We're going to be a part of your journey because we're going to watch you as you take this message around the world and touch so many lives that need what you've got. And so I'm really proud of you.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.